Dragon Age is about the place and the time, more so than it's about a singular story. The world evolves. We have a long-term plan for where we want to take the franchise. It's something that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. Since near the end of Origins, we started to build out kind of the 5-game plan and further. The idea of the Inquisition and some of the themes we're going to explore in DAI were ones that we absolutely wanted to be able to get to. And so with the Inquisition, it's about looking into what conspiracies happen, what kind of dastardly deeds could occur when people are weak and when people are already naturally torn apart. And what does it take, and what is the nature of someone who could rise above that?
The major thing that we've actually already shown in E3 is this tear in the sky, this rift, this tear through the veil into the Fade. Demons are pouring out of the Fade, and you are the only survivor of this event. So that puts you in this strange position as survivor, were you responsible, were you involved in some way?
And at the same time as this massive event has occurred, there's also almost a suspiciously high number of things falling apart. Ferelden recovering from the Blight or Lay, tearing itself apart in civil war. And on top of that, the Wardens seem to be up to something that we hinted strongly at in the midst of Dragon Age 2. And basically anybody who could stand up for order seems to be rather preoccupied. And that seems like something you uncover could possibly be more than just what meets the eye.
But ultimately, what you're actually doing is you're using your position and some of the things you do very early in the game to allow you to found the Inquisition.
It's formed in opposition to the Chantry Will. You're not a puppet of the church or anything like that. If anything, you're kind of the plucky upstart rebel.
You are not inherently anti-mage. You actually don't have to, you can be immensely pro-mage if you choose to be. That's very important to me. We're not forcing you to any sort of stance in terms of what you think about mages, what you think about Templars, what you think about the role of magic in Dragon Age. That's going to be left to the player to decide.
And throughout the course of the game, you're trying to uncover what's really going on. You're trying to contain this threat of demons breaching into our world. You're trying to restore some degree of order, but you're trying to do it ultimately to increase your own power, to make the Inquisition strong enough that it can withstand the threats that get thrown at it over the course of the game. And that's really fundamental to it, is the thing that we're doing from a story standpoint to set us apart, is that in addition to growing your character, in addition to growing a vast group of companions and followers, is that we also want you to feel like you're growing your organization. Galactic Readiness was more about existing things finally pitching in, and Origins was very much like that with the treaties. In our case, what we want to do is let you be the one in charge of it.
This isn't a micromanagement simulator or a middle management of justice or something like that. You're not a managerial figure. You definitely are someone who leads from the front.
You're that upstart group who everybody has to respect but doesn't want to. And how do you either earn that respect or demand it? When we announced Inquisition for real by showing it at E3, right? Trailer went up, my Twitter exploded, right? Because it's almost entirely DA fans following me. And it was, wow, that looks good. What about my world? Can I bring my world forward, right? And of course there's a lot of complications this time around because people may be shifting platforms. They're trying to make a decision whether or not they want to make a leap to a new generation, or maybe they want to go to PC this time and so on. Are they going to be able to do that? So we don't have the exact lockdown answer at this point. However, we are absolutely committed to making sure that you can bring the world that you've helped create into Inquisition. My kind of standing philosophy is that if we want to present you as something that you could have affected previously, like who's in charge of Ferelden, we want to make sure that we're prepared to do the work and spend the money to give you the content exclusivity to make that a worthwhile thing to include. In some cases, yeah, it'll be cameos and that kind of thing. Those happen. But if it's something that's really big and really central to the game, I think it's vital that you respect the player's choices and decisions. Otherwise, why did you let them make them?
80 to 90% of the staff is in Edmonton. Mostly the core of the team is the team that's been on this project since Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins had a very tailored experience for the PC, and we're really trying to recapture that for sure. So we're doing all development on all 5 platforms in-house. So Frostbite 3 is actually intended to be that scalable. It's intended to bridge the gap between current gen and next gen and be used as a platform that we use for everything. So the way we actually do things is that we have different layers where we can turn things off or on depending on the platform. So you might have from a graphical perspective, you might have a really high polygon bridge on next gen platforms and you'd have a lower polygon version of that same asset on current gen. One thing we're striving really hard to do is to not affect the gameplay itself on the different platforms, so that the experience you have on all the platforms is recognizable and as similar as it can be.
We've taken a pretty huge opportunity by shifting engines, by exploring some new types of gameplay, and the core reason we've done that, to my mind, is to look to a future for BioWare games. Not just Dragon Age, where the player has more agency, where you are able to take a tighter control and reign of your experience, where there's more questing to do that's because you wanted to do it, where you have objectives that you've given yourself rather than quests that are being handed to you, and where there's still a big sweeping epic story arc and campaign waiting for you to dig into, but that you engage with it in the way you want.
Yeah, I mean, really what we wanted to do with this project was really get back in touch with our fans and help them help us to bring the games forward. What I would really say to the fans is to just keep paying attention to what we're saying and what we're showing most importantly. I don't want to promise anything at this point. I'd really just say keep watching and make up your own mind based upon what we show.
But you're feeling pretty good about it.
I'm feeling really good right now, yeah.